The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find. The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style.
Well, hello. My name is Mike Hayes of the Big H Podcast, and joining me today is Preston Prince. If you're looking for the date of this podcast, it was recorded on August 19th. 2024. Preston, it's great to have you along for the show.
Thanks for having me. Excited.
Oh, good. Me too. I'm excited as well. We had your dad on a few months ago. Great conversation with him. We talked about you, his sports, his coaching, and everything, and definitely wanted to have you on. So, how was your day today? It's summertime. What was the summer day in the life of Preston Prince?
I'm working for Ladder 91, like the company your son kind of helps out with. So painted there and then just got back from the gym and now we're podcasting.
That's excellent. Now, in terms of the painting, who's your main boss there? Let's give him a plug.
John Farrell.
John Farrell, and he does a great job with that group. He's got a lot of you guys working for him. Always going to throw a plug in there. We're going to always use some sponsors. So put your comments down in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, or give it a like. For those of you that don't know, Preston, tell us what college you went to last year and what sport you played.
So I played baseball at Niagara University last year.
And what level is that program?
That's Division I in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, the MAAC.
Yeah, so how do they delineate that from the MAC? Like you just call them both MACs or what?
Yeah, it's kind of people get them mixed up all the time, especially small school. Not a lot of people know about it. So you kind of just have to say like, nope, it's the one with Fairfield, Ryder, the other schools. And it's not like the Midwest MAC. So you kind of have to explain it a little bit.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you explained it because I think a lot of our viewers, and actually me, I don't even know the difference. So if you talk about the level that you played with at Niagara, how does that compare with the Southeastern Conference, Big East, schools like that? Like, is there a level? There are Division I schools, but is there ones that are maybe a little bit higher, a little bit below?
Yeah, absolutely. Just with the funding and all the things that go into college sports, it's a big difference between the mid-major schools and now the Power 4 conferences, not Power 5. And it's definitely an adjustment. Like when we played in a regional at Oklahoma State this year, it's a lot different. There's a lot of fans in the seats. The facilities are a lot different. So it's definitely a step up when you go to those bigger schools.
So before we get into a little bit about your Niagara season, did you decide a major yet in college yet, or did you kind of take general liberal arts classes?
So at Niagara, I was majoring in accounting. And then moving forward, I'll be majoring in economics.
Economics. Is there a lot of difference in terms of the course load or the coursework that you'll be taking? And if so, what made you change from accounting to economics?
Just in order to make the transfer credit process work at my new school, Rutgers University, that's what I had to do in order to maintain eligibility from a credit standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the closest major to accounting to where I could still get my CPA after school because that's what I'm looking to do.
Good. And my twin brother's a CPA, and is Jeff Sorensen. He's another guy there. He's a CPA. Another plug there for one of the Prince family good friends. So let's get back to Niagara. How big is that school in terms of how many undergraduates attend?
I want to say there's between 3,000 to 4,000.
Okay.
So it's a pretty small school.
It's a small school there. And in terms of the baseball program or the sports programs in general, what are the ones that they offer for the men's? Because I don't believe they have football there. But
Yeah, so it's ice hockey is kind of their big one. Basketball, obviously, soccer, track and field, cross country, baseball. I think I might be missing one. There's no lacrosse, no football. Oh, and tennis? Yeah, tennis is the other one.
Okay.
Oh, and golf. Golf, too.
Golf. What attracted you to Niagara? Did they come looking for you, or did you petition them?
Kind of a mix of different things. I emailed them, and then my head coach, when I was with the Diamond Pro Travel Baseball Organization, reached out to them. And then later in the recruiting process, they saw a video that I posted on Twitter, and they reached out, and I went on a visit there and really liked it. Liked that it was close to home. Liked the incentive that I could come in and potentially play as a freshman, and that was really attractive to me. And I was impressed with the field and with Coach McCoy. Built a pretty good relationship with him, so that kind of sent me there.
So Niagara, you just finished your freshman year or your sophomore year there?
Sophomore year.
Sophomore year, and then you'll be transferring to Rutgers in actually a week. I think you told me.
Yeah.
Off air. When you were at Niagara a couple years, they recruited you to pitch, correct? Okay. Tell me a little bit about the composite of a Division I baseball roster. Like, how many players do they carry? Position players versus pitchers.
So it kind of depends on the school. The NCAA just approved a thing where I believe there'll be 34 players that'll be next year that are able to be on the roster. But I think at Niagara we had 38. But you'll see, especially a lot of the bigger schools will bring in 50, 60, sometimes even 70 guys in the fall and then make cuts that way. But at Niagara, we only had, I think it was 38 guys. We traveled, I think 31, or right around 30, during our games during the spring. And I want to say we traveled 15 pitchers. So roughly 15 pitchers, 15 hitters, usually a couple more pitchers than hitters. And I don't know what the complete picture looked like roster-wise because, like, you have guys that were red-shirted or were hurt and that sort of thing. So I don't know the total number as to pitchers as to hitters as what it was exactly on that 38, I think it was.
In terms of your roster, how many of them were scholarship, walk-ons, partial scholarships, or don't you have any idea? You just
you hear about it through the grapevine, but I don't know the exact number, what it would be.
And you mentioned Coach McCoy. Tell us a little bit about him, his recruitment of you, his style of coaching, and where he ended up after the year.
So Coach McCoy is big on the mental game, and that's something that I think in high school I really struggled with. I was a kid that tried to work really hard and put a lot of effort in, but I still didn't believe in myself like I should have, and I'm still working on that. So he was big on instilling that and instilling a really good team culture based off of the mental game with our Eagles acronym that I really liked. Worked with Brian Kane, sports psychologist there, and he brought him in. And that's what really kind of transformed our culture that way. Because that was another reason why I went to Niagara is everyone was so tight and it was a really good group of guys that way. I think he played out west somewhere. And then I think he was a graduate assistant at UVA and then an assistant at Niagara and then eventually the head coach at Niagara. I want to say he spent 15 or so years at Niagara. And he obviously set the Niagara's win record this year. So we had a really good year, and now he's off to be the head coach at William & Mary.
Is William & Mary a bump up for him, or, like in terms of level of play in Division I?
Yeah, I believe they're in the CAA, which is a pretty good conference for baseball, and it's down in Virginia, I think it is. And they've got a really good program, so that should be a pretty good spot for him.
Good for him. We'll get into the transfer portal in a little bit. I want to circle back to you talking about the mental aspect of the game, because I think a lot of athletes, any level, they don't understand the mental preparation. There are certain things that you can do. For those kids, like that, say high school, that don't have a sports psychologist, what things can a high school kid do to mentally prepare for competition?
I think the first part of confidence, like my dad and I, like having phone calls and different stuff like that, the first part of it just comes from putting the work in. And like that builds the confidence, just knowing that you're going to the gym every single day and that you're out preparing your opponent was a big thing that I've worked on so far. And then other things you can do are like read books and that. And then obviously seeing success, I think, is the number one way to build confidence, because my dad and I have talked, like, is it that you see the success and then you become confident, or do you become confident and then you start to see the success?
Interesting.
So that's kind of the thing that I've had to see, is like, I need to see a little bit of success. And then for me, once I see a little bit of success, whether it's one outing, one game, whatever, that's when for me confidence starts to build, and the preparation takes over, and it kind of creates a snowball effect for me where that success piece is huge for me. I just really struggled, and I still struggle to believe in myself without seeing that success. So that's kind of what I've worked for.
I think being a pitcher, the game begins and ends with you. You got to bring strikes. You got to play around with some really good hitters, and that threat of walking kids or giving up a homer or whatever. So what are some things that you gain confidence, but there are some times when you struggle? And what are some things that you learned during those struggling moments? Maybe give me an example if you have one.
I think the biggest difference for me was going from playing in the MAC to playing in the regional to playing in the Cape Cod League this summer. What I've gotten much better at is slowing the game down. Because especially when you get up there in levels, the game speeds up. There's a lot of fans in the seats. There's a lot of good players on the other team, to where they're announcing a kid, so-and-so, Alabama is hitting. And you're like, oh, man, this is a really good player. And you kind of just learn to slow the game down, control your breathing, and just stay present, stay in the moment, is a lot of what Coach McCoy's preached. So slowing the game down and not letting it speed up on you, like in the regional, that was definitely something I experienced, where you're pitching in front of 8,000 fans, and it's a lot different than your typical MAC conference game during the year. So slowing the game down is definitely huge.
So going back to your freshman year, tell me a little about your season with Niagara, how you guys finished overall, how you ended up doing that year pitching-wise.
So I think we lost. We were 2-0 in the playoffs. We were just over 500, and I think it was our first over 500 season in quite some time. So it was a really good step in the right direction for us. Me personally, I started 2 games at the end of the year. Yeah, 2 games at the end of the year. I only threw 13.2 innings. I think that's what the number was. Just struggled a lot. Like I said, the college level, it's a big adjustment from what I experienced in high school. So worked through that, and then in the summer, I threw 40 innings for the Batavia Muck Dogs in the Perfect Game Collegiate League.
Nice.
So that was good for me to get more experience pitching against college guys during the summer. So that's kind of what I did my freshman year.
So your freshman year, you said you struggled a little bit. Explain what some of those struggles were.
Just a mix of kind of everything. Struggle with confidence, struggle with command, struggle with getting hit. I only had 1.5 pitches, and you need 2 good pitches at that level, and then if you have 3, you're probably going to be pretty dominant. So I struggle with that, struggle with throwing strikes, and that's why the summer was really crucial for me, was just getting on a consistent schedule, throwing every single week, just getting that reps and innings in to build the confidence. And like I said, like once you start to see the success, it just kind of created a snowball effect for me and allowed me to roll into my sophomore year much better.
So those of you that have never seen Preston play, he's a left-hander, big kid. What are you, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, about 6'5".
Yeah, height runs in your family. So what you said you had 1.5 pitches. What were they? Fastball, and what was the half a pitch?
Changeup. My changeup was okay, and I still struggle with throwing a breaking ball, but I didn't have a good breaking ball at all my
Mhm.
freshman year. So that's why that kind of inconsistency led to guys just sitting on my fastball and then it getting hit. And then when it wasn't in the zone, I was walking guys. So that was kind of what I had to work through as a freshman.
Now, your freshman year, going from freshman to sophomore year, did you have a lot of returners this past season then from your freshman season?
Yeah. Couple. Did we have any transfers on pitching staff?
Or even the hitting, position
A
players?
lot of hitters came in, and a lot of guys stepped into roles because we were very. I don't even want to say experienced as a staff because we had guys step into a lot of new roles as well. Like I didn't start on the weekends last year. We had another kid, Max Ramirez. He didn't start last year, and then Gage Wheaton was a freshman. So everyone was kind of moving into new roles. So we were a fairly young team, and we were expecting to be really good this upcoming year. So, yeah.
No, as a high schooler, you were a starter. So when you went into college, did you go into starting, or were you coming off? You were a relief pitcher, or what was it?
Yeah, mainly a reliever to start, and then at the end of the year, I got a couple spot starts, and I was kind of working my way into that role at the end of the year.
What was it like transitioning from that starting role in high school, and then in college or a reliever? I think relievers are tough because you go in usually when you got things are on the line. What was
Right.
that like?
So it was definitely a big adjustment
Mhm.
for me because when you're a starter, like your head's in the game, you're preparing an hour before the game to pitch. Whereas you're a reliever, sometimes it's you're chatting with your buddies on the bench, and next thing you know, you're in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big like mental adjustment is always kind of being locked in and finding a way to bring yourself back in when you're warming up or preparing for the game because like you can get punished at any time at this level, at the collegiate level. So anyone can get humbled. So you got to be quick to kind of find that alter ego or whatever it is that gets you in that mode per se, and get locked in and get ready to go.
One of the greatest relievers of all time, Mariano Rivera, it was said that he'd need 9 warm-up pitches and he's ready to go. So 9 warm-up pitches for you guys, that's like 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, and he was ready to go.
Yeah.
And so I can see that. So your freshman season at Niagara, you said you went a little bit above 500, which was a success story. Um, and then you go into your sophomore season. What were your goals going into the sophomore season, and what did you do in that off season to prepare for your sophomore year?
So during the middle of the season, actually, I started training with a remote program out of Charlotte, North Carolina called Tread Athletics. Worked a lot with them on my mechanics and my pitches and different stuff like that, getting in the weight room. So my goal going into my sophomore season was to start. And I did end up starting my sophomore year, but I was hurt the first 5 starts. I had an elbow injury that occurred during the winter, so I rehabbed and started throwing. So I missed the first 5 weeks of the year, and then going into the season, I was on like a pitch count my first 5 starts, and then I kind of just built up and worked my way into that role.
Freshman year, what was your fastball at your speed?
I want to say so. Synergy is like Huddle for baseball.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a scouting network.
Mhm.
I want to say the average on there was 87.5 maybe, and then my average this year was like 90.6 during the season. During the summer, it was closer to 93 in the Cape Cod League, and then my max velo was 96. So a big improvement from the past year.
You attribute that max velo, that velocity increase due to that remote program that you did?
Yeah, and just the confidence too, because a lot of guys, myself included, like when I lose that confidence, you don't like the ball doesn't feel as comfortable in your hand, and you don't feel like you can rip it the same as to when you're confident and you're out there and your chest is up and you're ready to go, and it definitely has an effect on your velocity. We see it all the time with guys that were coming in the fall and then going into the winter and the spring. It definitely has an effect on it.
So when you're increasing your difference in your technique and your weight training, do you have one or the other that help you with your velocity?
I think mechanics have the biggest thing to do with it. And then also flexibility. Like I
Mhm.
worked a ton on like increasing the flexibility in my hips and my spine and my shoulder. Because I was already a kid, like I wasn't necessarily big, but I was strong enough per
Mhm.
se in the weight room. So it was more about refining things and getting faster, like increasing my vertical jump, just becoming a better athlete down the mountain, I think was the more important piece.
Well, my son has caught you in the past on a little soup bullpens this summer. Says you're a tough guy to catch because you're that lefty and everything tails right on you. But that's a good thing. So your sophomore season, talk a little bit about the regular season and then how you approached the off season and how your team did.
So I threw 38.2 innings, I think it was. So like I said, I missed the first 5 weeks, first five starts. So then after that, I threw 38.2 innings. In the regular season, I had a 4.1 ERA, and then it got bumped up to like a 6.1 after the postseason. So the goal for me this offseason was to work on my third pitch, which right now it's a cutter, but I wanted to make it more like a slider because I think that would be a better option for me. And then just work on making pitch to pitch adjustments and limiting the walks because I think a lot of the walks for me aren't like 3-0 walks where I just completely lose focus.
Mhm.
It's more of like 3-2 walks where a lot of times I was 0-2 and I end up walking the guy. So it's like, how can I step up my game and make adjustments pitch to pitch to where I eliminate those walks and get myself deeper into games and become more efficient. So eliminating those walks and slowing the game down, making pitch to pitch adjustments were my big focuses for this summer.
So it sounds like I'm trying to keep doing the numbers and correct me if I'm wrong. Freshman year, 13 innings or so, and then this year, 38, 39, with missing 5 starts. So that's triple the amount you did your freshman year. Tell our viewers a little bit about we know what a fastball is, we know what a changeup is. Talk to them a little bit about what a slider is and then a cutter.
So a slider kind of spins like a football. So more recently, I've been throwing the football a lot as part of my training regimen to try and work on that because it's the same. It spins the exact same like a bullet would spin.
Mm-hmm.
And then a cutter's the same way. The spin efficiency is just less to where a cutter spins more like a fastball, just on a little bit of a different axis, if you will. So a slider is usually slower, but more sharp and has a bigger movement.
Mm-hmm.
Where a cutter is more like a fastball and it's harder and it still moves, but not as much as a slider would move.
Now, when you were at Niagara, did your catcher call the pitches, or did you call the pitches, or did your coach call the pitches?
Our catcher called the pitches through the new PitchCom system.
Explain that because I don't think people are aware of what that is.
So for some teams, like when I was in the summer, you get a wristband that you wear that calls the pitch on it. But the one we had at Niagara was in our hat. So there'd be an automated voice like Siri that would just say fastball away, and you would hear it, and that would be the pitch call, and that would come from the catcher.
No kidding. And so the catcher got the call from the coach?
No, our coach trusted our catchers to call the pitches. That was
What was your catcher's name that caught you?
I had two catchers. Matthew Ward was one of them. He was a graduate student, and then Tommy Takayoshi was the other one, and he signed a free agent deal with the Oakland A's, so he's there now.
Oh, cool. Do you stay in touch with some other players you played with? Did anybody else get drafted by anybody?
Yeah, so Ryan Minkler got drafted by the Nationals. So I stay in touch with him pretty frequently. And then Eric Radicek got drafted.
Was he your first baseman?
Yeah.
He was a big hitter, right?
Yeah, he was Conference Player of the Year. He was a pretty special player. He got drafted by the Miami Marlins. So yeah, those were just the only two guys that got drafted.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Coming from one school. So then your team heads into the conference tournament. Is that correct? Where was that played at?
That was played in Pomona, New York.
Okay.
At Clover Stadium. It's actually Manhattan's home field.
And how did that tournament run? Was it a seedings and winner move on, or was it a best of three in different game series? How did they run that?
So it was 6-team double elimination where the 1 and the 2 seed got a bye. And it was pretty smooth sailing for our team. We needed a couple things to happen. Mount St. Mary's beat Fairfield game 1, which was huge for us because Fairfield beat us in a series. So we beat we beat Ryder first, beat Mount St. Mary's, and then beat Fairfield, and that was the closing win to win the tournament.
Is Mount St. Mary's where McCoy's going to?
No, he's going to William and Mary.
Okay, I knew Mary was part of that. So then what happens after you win that tournament? Where did you go, and how'd that go?
So we went to the NCAA regional at Oklahoma State, and then opening night we played Oklahoma State, and that was the game that I started. And then we lost to them. We got beat pretty good by them, and then we played Nebraska the next day, who I think was the winner of the Big Ten tournament, and we lost to them 7-5 the next day. So it was a close game, good game, but that wrapped our season up after that loss.
So after all was told TOLLED, was that a record? You said you had a record for wins this year. Is that as farthest as any Niagara team has gone?
So we had 38 wins on the year, and I want to say the record was, we beat it by, it felt like at least 6 wins. I want to say the record was right near 30. So it was pretty special for us to get that record, and then that was our first conference championship ever. So it was pretty cool to be a part of.
Talked earlier in the podcast about chemistry building. Talk a little bit about, was there any method that the coach used, or, because I always think like chemistry is great. When you're all friends competing, it's awesome. What were some things that you guys did to be tight?
Coach, we like that sports psychologist that I talked about earlier, Brian Kane. He came in and instilled kind of the culture. I want to say it was like 6 years ago, maybe even more. So where we instilled the EAGLES acronym: excellence, accountability, grit, love, energy, selflessness, or selfless.
Okay.
So each day we would read out of Brian Kane's book called The Daily Dominator, and it would basically just have like a motivational thing each day. And we'd call a number called the Success Hotline that would have an automated voice message for us every day. And each day, one person at practice would be randomly selected to talk about what the Success Hotline and the Daily Dominator said. So that was 2 of the things that really stuck with me, that we did to kind of instill that culture. And like a big part of it is recruiting. The coaching staff brought in a lot of great guys that we all gelled well together. And that's kind of always been a thing that I've heard about with Niagara, is everyone's been super, super tight. So I had a lot of fun there. It was a blast. Learned a lot there, got a lot better there. So I can't say enough good things about the program.
Many of us have heard about the onset of the transfer portal. What made you decide to enter the transfer portal?
So Coach McCoy was pretty much the big reason why I went to Niagara. Like I said before, my relationship with him was really good. And after he left, we didn't have a pitching coach at the time at Niagara. I know they just hired one, but at the time we didn't have a pitching coach. And as you can imagine, it's really tough to become a better pitcher without a pitching coach. So that was one of the things that I was looking for in my next school, because that's the next step for me, is improving that pitchability aspect. And that's one of the things I wanted to work on. And that's one of the things that I knew my next school could help me with. And after Coach McCoy left, like I had no intentions of leaving. And then once he left, between my parents, talking to some different people, we all thought it was a good idea for me to enter the transfer portal.
And how does that process go? Did you have to fill out a form, go online, say declaring for the transfer portal? And then how do other schools get in contact with you? Or how do you go about contacting other programs?
So kind of what you do is you just talk to the compliance officer. You fill out a couple forms. They enter your name. And then after that, like I posted something on social media, on Twitter or X now. And then kind of once that happens, it gets pretty crazy pretty quickly. Like I was at work with Michael, your son, actually, and I posted on the transfer portal, and 5 minutes later, you're getting calls from schools to where usually your travel ball coach, or if you have an advisor, they help you out with that process. And it gets pretty crazy from there.
So you entered it. You take it from As you entered the transfer portal, what are some schools that reached out to you that you took a liking to, and how did you narrow it down to Rutgers?
So I really like Rutgers because of Coach Owens and his pedigree and everything that he was about when I was on the visit with him. And then Coach McCray, I'm really excited to work with him as the pitching coach there at Rutgers. But I haven't met any of the other coaches there. And then some other schools, Louisville was one of the ones, and then Ohio State was another one. Florida Gulf Coast, St. John's. So those were just a couple of them, but I was really between Louisville, Ohio State, and Rutgers.
And how did they? Obviously, they had interest in you. Did they have you send tapes of you pitching in games, or go on word of mouth by talking to some trusted people in the area, or what did they do?
Yeah, I'm sure. I know one of the advisors I'm working with. He had a relationship with Coach McCray. So he reached out to him for me, and then I posted a video on Twitter of me pitching and different things. So that's how most coaches got in contact with me. And then there's a database, a transfer portal database that each coach gets access to that they can look on. So some schools contacted me through there.
Were you under a time frame to make a decision on a school to go to, or because baseball, well, I'm sure they have fall ball, right? And those, but then the spring major season, spring. Were you under any time constraints to choose one?
Yeah, I wanted to get committed to a school pretty quickly, especially because it was late, like middle pretty much of the summer, and like scholarship money goes quickly, and I just wanted to get the process over with and get connected with a school and get a training program and start getting on the regimen that they wanted me to get on. So I was looking to make a decision pretty quickly after I visited school.
And you talked about the pedigree of the coaches or coach there. How's Rutgers doing there the last couple of years? Are they competitive? What division or conference are they in?
So Rutgers is in the Big Ten.
Okay.
They've been pretty competitive the past few years. They were over 500 last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say the year before or 2 years before, they had over 40 wins.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to check that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So they've been pretty good the past couple of years.
Just wondering, how many games does a D1 baseball program play? So if they won 40, do you play 55, 60 games? I don't know.
Yeah, usually around there.
Okay. So this off season, you did the workouts virtually, the remote. Talk to me a little bit about the Cape Cod League, what that consisted of. Did you have to travel, stay with family? I kind of know a little bit of this, but tell our viewers.
So the Cape Cod League's down in obviously Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The team I played with down there was the Bourne Braves. Coach Owens set me up with them. He had a great connection with the head coach of the Bourne Braves. So that's how I got connected with them. And then when you're down there, you stay with a host family. Mike and Terry were my two host parents, and they were awesome. Couldn't ask for a better host family. I was with a different host family prior, but that wasn't a great situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved in with Mike and Terry and had an awesome experience with them. And I've never been at a not at home college league. So it was a pretty cool experience for it to be the Cape Cod League, and also you're staying away from home with the host family. So that was a pretty unique experience. And then in terms of like driving, like every team is usually within an hour, if not closer than one another, which is unique to the Cape Cod League because most teams are, sometimes you're staying in a hotel or you're taking a 6-hour bus trip. And in the Cape, every team is within an hour. So you pretty much leave and come back at a reasonable hour each night. So it's pretty awesome.
Tell me a little bit about some of the guys you competed with and against in the Cape Cod League.
So Some of the bigger names like Merrick Houston, shortstop at Wake Forest, was on my team. Ethan Conrad, who I played with at, or not played with, excuse me, played against, who was at Marist, just transferred to Wake Forest. Braden Holcomb, Camden Koziel was a Team USA guy, now going to Arkansas. Guys I played against, Ike Irish at Auburn. Who else did I play against? I played against my own teammate who was at Niagara, now at Illinois, Nick Groves. There's just so many guys.
You're playing studs on every school, right?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome competition. It's a very, very good league.
So you had a good experience with that host family. Did that host family have a son that played on your team, or they just reached out and said they'd host you?
No, they've been hosting for guys for a couple years now. Their 3 sons are pretty much grown up now. So just spent a lot of time with them and talked with them, and they were already set up with Bourne, so that's kind of how I got that connection.
I have too. They've raised 3 sons already, so they don't bring in another one.
Yeah,
probably empty nesters or whatever. So in the summertime, when do you go back to college? You go back in a week?
Yep. This coming Sunday.
Okay. And if I think, well, I'm going to get into it now, but I know John Schwind was an athlete, a baseball player from Hilton, went to Marist, played in the Pirates organization. Are there any other Hilton kids that you remember or can think of that also went Division I to play baseball?
Michael Wheelahan.
Oh, yeah.
Who's at Lemoyne.
Presently at Lemoyne.
James Caplupo, who's at St. Bonaventure now. Stephen Krause, who's at Binghamton.
You're talking present one. Can you go back any further? I'm trying. I've obviously been around.
Don Palma, who was at Manhattan.
Okay.
Danny Hurleman, who was at Youngstown State. I know I'm forgetting.
No, that's pretty good. I put you on the spot trying to name. I should have done some better research and had that done for you. So you go in a week. Do you already know who your roommate is? Okay. Is he a baseball player?
Yep.
Okay.
I've got 2 guys that are on the baseball team that are my roommates.
Okay. So when do workouts start? Immediately as you get there, do they start getting you training again? Well, you probably never stop training, right?
Right.
What's a week like for the training system that Rutgers wants? Like, what did they do for you this summer? Like, all right, Preston, this is what we want you to do Monday, Tuesday. What did they do with you?
So a lot of it fluctuates because when you're in summer ball and I was relieving, you don't know when you're going to pitch. So you're basically preparing to pitch, and then if you don't pitch, you're just back at it again the next day preparing to pitch. But in terms of like a typical week right now is different because I'm resting my arm a little bit to prepare for the fall season. But before I went to the Cape Cod League, it's usually 3 to 4 lifts a week. So like upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body. Throwing 5 to 6 days a week, usually 2 bullpens. And then you're usually doing 2 days of conditioning a week. And then I was working 8 to 4:30 each day. So I'd come home, shower, throw, lift, and then that would pretty much be it. But that was what the training regimen was like.
Do they restrict or give you a diet to follow?
Not specifically when I'm home, but I know we have a sports nutritionist that I'll definitely meet with when I get to school and utilize her resources to improve stuff that way.
In the Cape Cod League, who was your coach or coaches?
So Jared Saltalamacchia, who was a former big leaguer, he actually called the pitches for us. So it was really good to get to know him and work with him. That was pretty awesome. And then Scott Landers, Coach Landers at Oswego State, was the head coach. And then Coach Smart, who is what we call him, but his name was Kevin Curtin. And he was the pitching coach at MIT. So, and then Tanner Sinicki, I think is how you pronounce it, was the director of ops at Binghamton, actually. And he was the assistant pitching coach.
So we talked a little bit about your summer in terms of your work and thing. Did you have any time to yourself this summer, and what are some fun things that you got to do with your buddies?
Yeah, so I played a lot of golf with your son, actually. So that was what I did most of the time in my free time. I just played golf, uh, went to the gym, played some cards with my friends. So those are some of the things I like to do.
Oh. So now getting into your family a little bit, I know your father very well. He graduated a year behind me. Watched him coach basketball for years. Talk a little bit about your mom and dad.
So yeah, my dad was a Hilton grad, played soccer, basketball, and tennis. My mom was a Spencerport grad. Uh, my dad played a year of soccer at Oswego State. Now he's the varsity basketball coach. Been the coach, I think now is his 21st year.
Mm-hmm.
And then my younger brother Peyton's a senior right now, also a basketball and baseball player, lefty as well. So yeah.
I wonder, is that genetic? Because like that's funny. Like your dad's not lefty, right?
No, he's not.
Mom, she
Nope.
lefty. What's your mom do for an occupation? And your dad, because I know, but tell me.
She's a compliance administrator at U of R.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad is the phys ed teacher at English Village and obviously the basketball coach.
He has one of the best whistles when he puts it. It's uncanny. So yeah, you were coached by your dad in basketball. What was
Yeah.
that like playing for your dad?
I think it helped me prepare, for college. And it was just really good. Like he had really high expectations for me. And a lot of days, like coaching has shifted to where my dad was tough on me, and that was really good for me because college is a lot different than high school, where a coach will really get on you. And that was something that my teammates weren't used to. But with my dad being my coach, that helped me out a lot to where I could take criticism and I would respond to being coached hard. And that's one thing I'm looking forward to at Rutgers. So I think it was really good for me.
Were there ever, you can get a drink whenever you need there, but was there ever some quiet trips on the way home where maybe you didn't perform up to snuff?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, we all have a dad. We all know what it's like. So, like in high school basketball, did you play from your sophomore year up, or was it just junior, senior year?
I played my sophomore year with Tajay Hill there.
And then talk a little bit about your team success in those seasons, and then your individual success.
So my sophomore year, I played point guard. I think we lost. I think it was the quarterfinals. Actually, we lost to Edison. That was with Tajay Hill, Colin Burkish, Jason Story, Nick Graziano, Carter Clark. So we were okay that year. I think we were better than how we finished, obviously, but we just ran into a tough Edison team, tough draw. Junior year was the shortened season. It was only 10 games. And I want to say we were 500. And that was, I didn't have a great year. That year I was focusing a lot on baseball. And getting committed to a school and training a lot. So I think that year I was second team all county. That year I played more of like, sometimes I'd play point guard and I would function more into like a bigger guy role, like the 4 or the 5 at times.
And then keep talking or whatever. But on senior year, there was just an explosion of, you did a lot of work down low. Talk a little bit about that.
So I think it started in the fall. I was kind of a chubbier kid. And then, in the summer. And then in the fall, I did a lot of work with a strength coach. Tried to change my body composition a lot and just become a lot better athlete, which would also help me in basketball and baseball. Just got a lot more fit. And I think that was what really helped me. And just the confidence grew. Like, you're now the oldest guy on the team. So the confidence grew for me a lot. And that was, like I've talked about, huge for me is when the confidence wasn't there at the free throw line. But other than that,
it's all right.
It got there. So I did a lot of work becoming a better athlete there. And we did like a fall league. And that was when I really felt my game kind of take off when I became a better athlete. And then it just kind of snowballed for me into the year where I just played more aggressive. I think I fit in better at more of the 4 and 5 role. Just started playing harder, more confident, more aggressive. And with me being more fit, it allowed me to do that for an extended period of time where I couldn't do that before the following year. So that was what kind of helped me out there.
And how did your team finish? And then talk a little bit about your season-ending statistics and your all-league awards senior year.
So we lost on a buzzer beater in the semifinals to Rush Henrietta. We were up 2, and a kid hit a step back off I can still picture it. Step back off the backboard that went in. So we lost at the buzzer there. And then in terms of the individual stuff, I averaged, I think it was 26 points a game and 12 rebounds a game. I was Monroe County Co-Player of the Year with Phil Wugwo, who I think now is at Damon. And then I was first team AGR.
Sorry, he's talking so much, his throat's getting dry. Yeah, and I've seen Preston develop over the years in basketball and baseball. Senior year, you were like a Mexican jumping being under there. You'd miss one shot, boom, get your own rebound, keep going, get you a lot of rebounds. Yeah, maybe you could have shot better at the free throw line, but to get to the line right there, you got to be pretty physical underneath the basket. So that's your fall, your winter season. Then talk a little bit about baseball and your evolution as a varsity athlete player for baseball.
So for baseball, my sophomore year was canceled due to COVID.
Mm-hmm. You guys didn't play at all?
Didn't play at all.
Okay.
That one game. So I think that definitely hurt me. Not only just you miss out on an entire season, but that would have been my first year of varsity. So it's kind of crazy. I committed to a Division I school without even playing a varsity game, which is pretty. I don't think that ever happens. Mm-hmm. So I didn't play my sophomore year. My freshman year, I was on JV. My junior year, we lost in the sectional finals to Gage Zeal and Penfield. And he obviously went in the 4th round this year, so there's not a whole lot of high school team can do about a draft pick out of high school on the mound. And my season was okay. I was second team all county. I think I hit over 300, but I don't know what the exact number was. Played center, right, left field. And then my senior year, I tore my right labrum, so my non-throwing shoulder, first game in batting practice.
Okay.
Before we played Brighton. Didn't get surgery, but it didn't hurt me to throw. It would just keep dislocating when I would swing. So I didn't swing. I just played the field and pitched. I want to say I had like a 1.4 ERA as a senior. And I was second team all county my senior year. So I'd never made first team all county in baseball, but I made first team all county in basketball. So it was kind of weird.
Kind of amazing. Say a little bit about, like you said, second team all county in baseball, but you got that, scholarship or to play baseball to Niagara. What do you think they saw in you? Was it the size, the left-handed arm? Saw your ceiling? What do you think it was?
Yeah, pretty much all of that. And just the fact that, like, with a high school kid that's, like, showcased the ceiling or whatever it is, and with the fact that, like, that kid hasn't had a pitching coach and hasn't been worked with yet, and the velocity in high school, like, I think I touched 95 in high school. So I think that's what they saw, and that's what got me there.
Would you declare yourself a thrower in high school, or like you turned into a pitcher? Because I know there's difference.
Yeah, absolutely. At times this year, and even still now, you could consider me a thrower, and that's where, when I turn the corner there, that's when I take my game to the next level, and that's what I'm working pretty hard on right now. So you could definitely say that.
When you're in high school, when did you realize you want to play baseball in college?
Uh,
Or did somebody come to you and say, hey, man, you got enough talent to take it to the next level?
uh, both, uh, both of my travel coaches had kind of lured me into it, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would say basketball was probably my more favorite sport growing up, just because as a kid, like baseball, you experience so much failure that it's just tough to fall in love with the game.
I'm
Um,
sorry to stop you there. Explain in baseball why you experience so much failure, because I think that's a very interesting statement.
just I don't want to say losing games, but like when you're going up to the plate, you're considered really good if you succeed 30% of the time.
Exactly. Yep.
And then on the mound, just walking guys, giving up hits, just not being like as a pitcher, you're especially in high school when you're D1 commit, you're expected to go out there and throw really well.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't throw really well, it's a pretty humbling experience
Mm-hmm.
to where the wheels start turning, where you're like, what do I need to do? Like, why isn't this working? And that kind of mental spiral happens, and that's kind of the failure. But at the same time, I think, especially when I experienced even more failure in college and still experiencing failure, it's helped definitely mentally prepare me. And I, I wouldn't say I've enjoyed it, but I've learned a lot from it. And it definitely hardens you and prepares you for a lot of things in life. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's been pretty special for me.
Talk a little bit about your high school teammates, baseball teammates, when you were a senior, how far the team went, and what happened in the playoffs.
So your son Michael, who like we talked about, still catches my bullpens. So I'm thankful for that. James Caplupo at St. Bonaventure, right-handed pitcher. Carter Clark, who was committed to Siena but now playing football at Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Krause at Binghamton. Brady Gehrig at Taylor University. Michael Wheelahan at Lemoyne. Uh, Tyler Cerami and Sorkon weren't on the team my senior year.
Are you going through the positions? Because I'm trying to go through the positions right now.
Jeffrey Broad next
Mm-hmm.
at FLCC. Joey Santa at FLCC. I don't think we had any others go to play college baseball.
That's a lot out of one program. That's pretty good. And then explain how you guys did in division, and then I know what happened, but sectionals, because it's rough to talk about.
So we won the division. I want to say we went like 16-4, 17-3.
I think you were like 16-4 or something.
In the regular season. Then we lost to one of my good friends, actually, travel ball teammate of mine, Braden Council,
Mm-hmm.
pitched for Fairport, threw really well. I think we lost like 2-1, maybe 1-0.
Great game.
So lost them at Hilton in the quarterfinals, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So just a tough draw that way, especially when I want to say we were the 1 seed.
You could keep saying it's tough draw, tough draw, tough draw. And in baseball,
Yeah,
great pitching can thwart great hitting and good pitching too.
right.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he just got stung there a couple of years in a row. But yeah, very successful in baseball too. A lot of success coming out of Hilton baseball. If we go back into your younger life, tell me a little bit about your elementary education, where you went to school, maybe some of your highlighted influential teachers.
So where did I go? I went to Patty Hill
Mm-hmm.
from K through 2. In third grade, we moved to Hilton. That's why I started at Hilton. And then I was at Northwood in Hilton. Merton Williams, excuse me, Merton Williams. And then the high school, obviously. So some influential teachers, Mrs. Feege and Mrs. Ames.
They're Northwood, right?
Yeah.
Grades 5, 6, or
Yep.
what was special about what they did for you?
They kind of just instilled that like hard work ethic and putting the effort in, and like a lot of times in elementary school, like it's easy to start out on. I wasn't challenged a whole lot, and then once I got there, that's when they're like, oh, you need to put effort in, you need to start studying, and that really helped me out. So I'm thankful for them. And then Middle school. I'm trying to think. I can't even
Here, I'm going
remember.
to hold off on a question there. So you're at Patty Hill K2.
Yeah.
What was it like moving from the Greece Central School District to the Hilton District? Was that an easy, smooth transition, or what was it like?
Yeah, I mean, I played Hilton Raiders football,
Mm-hmm.
so I had already had some friends.
Your dad says you were too soft to continue with football.
Yeah.
I think basketball and baseball treated you pretty well.
Like Carter Clark was a really good friend of mine, so I had already knew him and a couple other guys. I had met them through football, and obviously, Mr. Clark or Coach Clark was coaching varsity basketball at the time, so I'd already known Carter forever. So I had already had some friends, but definitely like when you're a little kid and you don't know what to expect, it's nerve wracking, but it ended up being a pretty easy transition.
Talk a little bit about the influence and support of your grandparents and your uncles.
Yeah, it's been huge. When I was younger, I would stay at their houses. They'd pick me up from school, so I obviously built a really good relationship with all of them. And on uh, on my mom's side, I have a distant uncle that's in Chicago, and then my aunt lives pretty close. And on my dad's side, both my uncles still live in Hilton, so really close to all of them. They would come to my games, and my grandparents would come to all my games. So it's been pretty neat that we've all kind of stayed in Hilton or in that region.
Yeah, it's always nice to look up in the stands and see all of those people you just mentioned. Even sometimes games, I'm there at the scores table doing my job, and I'm in a text strand with Uncle Todd and some people. We're just going, man, Preston's doing this. It's fun. And even when you were playing out of town, we would text about you. So you gave us a lot of fun moments to go through. Go to middle school. Now you go from Northwood over to the middle school. What was the middle school like for you in terms of any other hobbies? I mean, obviously sports was a big part, and maybe can you think of any one or two teachers? And sometimes the teachers that influence you the most are the ones that challenge you the most, or the ones that make you a better person. And
Absolutely. In terms of teachers, like Coach Murphy was obviously big for me. Played modified basketball for him, so that's middle school. Academically, I was fine. I felt pretty at home there. Like obviously, it's different than high school or different than elementary school, but Miss Feege and Mrs. Ames really helped me with that transition because they're big on pushing you to work hard and study and get organized and that sort of thing. So they helped make that transition pretty easy. But in terms of teachers, Coach Murphy definitely had a big impact because he was the varsity baseball coach at the time. So and modified basketball coach. So I learned a lot from him. He actually played for my coach at Rutgers when Coach Owens was at Portland.
yeah.
So there was a connection there. So talk to him about that. So he's been a pretty good connection and resource and just teacher, motivator, and coach for me. So I would say he's probably had the Coach Wheelahan, although I don't know if I had him in class. Did I? So, but
and he coached you your junior and senior baseball.
Yep. Yeah, and then he assisted on the basketball team as well, and obviously built a good relationship. He lives 2 doors down from me, and then became good friends with his son Michael. We used to play pickle in their yard and in our yard, so it was good to build a relationship with him, and I loved being coached by him when I was in the baseball and basketball programs. So yeah, it was good.
And then you graduated from high school in what year? Was it 2022?
22, yeah.
What are your remembrances of high school if you summed up those 4 years in terms of Hilton was pretty good to you, right?
Yeah, like you hear some kids like complain about it, but I thought Hilton was pretty awesome. The education, sports programs, kids that are going there, a lot of awesome people there, a lot of great teachers in high school that I built relationships with. So I think it's a pretty special place.
I'm just throwing this question. What'd you dress up as on Halloween?
This past year,
No, when you were a senior in high school.
I don't even think I went out
Oh,
on
okay.
Halloween.
Oh, well,
Uh,
no, like wasn't that like a big day for seniors? Like you dress up and go to school? Maybe not. Maybe that was just way back in when.
yeah, no, I don't think I dressed up my senior year.
You were straight as an arrow type of kid, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you got seniors going into high school this year. What's some advice you can give to them? It's their last year of high school at Hilton Central School District.
I would just say enjoy it. You're gonna, like everyone says it, but you're gonna blink and it's gonna be over.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't be afraid to try new things and go out and do stuff. Uh, yeah, just make friends, build relationships that way. Some of my best friends are obviously from the same high school, and I still obviously hang out with them to this day. So build relationships with your friends, work hard, and set up your future. And whatever you're doing, whether it's going into the workforce or going to college, just make a decision and get ready to roll with it.
And moving it over to the athlete, what would you tell that athlete going into their senior year?
I would say it's your last year, and you don't want to live with regret. Because I think there's definitely people out there who would say, "Wish I would have worked harder. I wish I would have did this. I would have did that." So I would say, unless you're kind of checked out, I would say put your best foot forward and get to work. Work as hard as you can, and at the end of the day, no matter what the result is, you'll be able to look yourself in the mirror and say that I worked as hard as I possibly could, and the results were the results.
Good advice. Ending here now with some favorites and then final thoughts. What's Preston Prince's favorite food?
Oh, definitely Chipotle.
Chipotle?
Yeah.
Is there a particular bowl that you have, or do you go for this bowl? I've never eaten it, so
I've had the same bowl the past 3 years.
which is
Extra brown rice, double chicken, extra corn, extra cheese, light lettuce.
Huh.
That's it.
And maybe how many days a week do you eat it out of 7 days? You think? What's the average?
Well, I work 5 days a week, and I usually get it every day at work. I had it earlier today, so. But when I'm at school, probably less, just because
Okay.
it's expensive and you're a college student. So at school, maybe once or twice a week.
Okay. So you talked a little bit about what's your favorite book. You said you did some reading for your school, your sports psychologist. Do you remember what's a favorite book of yours?
Off the top of my head, "Relentless" by Tim Grover.
Okay.
He
What's
was
that about?
he was the strength trainer for both Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan.
Mhm.
So he talks about closers, cleaners, and there's one other C in terms of types of people, and it just talks about mentality and work ethic and different stuff like that. And then another book, the world-renowned Navy SEAL David Goggins, he has a book called "Can't Hurt Me." So that was another thing big on discipline and mentality and working hard and that sort of thing. So those are kind of books I enjoyed reading.
Interesting. Favorite TV show or binge show to watch?
I used to watch The Walking Dead a lot during COVID. Now, what's the one? Blue Mountain State.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that one. I watched that during the season, and Ted Lasso. It's another
Okay.
one that I really
I've
like.
heard about Lasso. That's an HBO, right?
Yeah.
Who was your favorite character on The Walking Dead?
Forget that guy's name.
It's all right.
The one cop, the main character.
Okay. Is that show still running, or is it
I think
running
so.
its course?
I think it is.
All right.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the main character's name. I haven't watched it in probably 2 or 3 years, but definitely him, the sheriff.
Now you appear to be well read. Do you have a favorite quote?
Favorite quote.
I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
Huh. Trying to think here. I have some written down.
Mm-hmm. Where do you write them down so you can refer to them again? Is there a special book that you have, or
I would say less than more not necessarily a quote, but favorite word or saying is process. It's the background on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been another learning curve for me. Is like no matter how much work you put in, like the process of getting better, where it's becoming a better person or becoming a better player or worker or whatever it may be, like it's a process. You need to trust that process, and you need to understand that like you're looking to improve a little bit each day, and understanding that like the person you want to be or the place you want to be like isn't going to come instantly. Like it takes time, and you need to not focus on the end result, but more of like how you're building towards the end result, and like taking care of business each and every day, and the end result will come as long as your preparation is there and that sort of thing. So that's one thing, transforming into college, that I've really had to work on, and still to this day, like I see it obviously every single time I look at my phone. But that's one thing that has really stuck with me, is trusting that process.
Well, for not knowing the quote, you nailed that question. I read a quote today from Patrick Mahomes talking about Travis Kelce, and it was about process. But he said you have to enjoy the process,
Yeah.
and that's what Travis Kelce does. And like even at this point in preseason, they're banged up, but that guy goes out, and that's a good model for the younger players. Do you have a favorite app?
Probably Twitter.
Twitter, X.
Yeah.
Where can we follow you at X?
Preston Prince 1-1.
Okay. Is 1-1 your baseball number as well?
No, it was my basketball number when I was in like 6th grade.
Okay. Favorite leisure activity?
Probably golf.
Golf.
Probably golf.
So you play golf left-handed too?
Yep.
See, because I have a younger brother, Dave. He's the golf coach, girls basketball. He's left-handed, but he taught himself to play right-handed, but he putts left-handed.
That's what I've heard. My dad
Messed
told
up.
me that.
He's a good player, golfer. Favorite place to visit if you've been able to do much traveling?
Well, now it'll probably be Niagara.
Mm-hmm.
I was there a couple of days ago. I'll be there again in the winter, but that place is definitely a home away from home for me. So it'll definitely be Niagara, despite like Niagara Falls now isn't the same area that it was back in the day, but Niagara University's got a special place for me, so it'll definitely be there.
2 more questions. What's one word to describe Hilton?
I would say home, or grit, I guess. It's a small town. Everyone knows everybody. And I think everyone's kind of pulling for everyone. And I like that hometown atmosphere. I think everyone kind of works with a chip on their shoulder here. And I really enjoy that. Where it's not that like preppy culture that you see at every places or at other places. I think a lot of people here are humble, and I like that you can go to the grocery store and see someone that you know, and all that different sort of stuff. You can go to the gym and see just about anyone from your high school. So I think that's all pretty cool.
I like that word. Can you go into the word grit a little bit? Because I remember that was on some basketball shirts. Explain why you can see Hilton has a little bit of grit too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think it's not like that preppy culture that we talked about. Like it's just that West Side. Like people are hardworking. I don't know. I've just always kind of seen it as gritty, and you just like you hear your teammates come from all these different places, and I don't know. I just love being home and kind of putting my head down and working, and just making the best out of everything. And yeah, I don't know. Like grit to me just means like there's no I haven't faced, or not that I haven't faced, but there's not a whole lot of like there's not much bad going on in Hilton. Like it's a pretty special place to where it's pretty civilized, pretty there's not any crime really going down in Hilton. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's gritty, and it's small town. I just love it. I don't
Well, I'm glad. I didn't mean to press you and try to press spin, but you did a nice job with that. What's one person from history you'd like to have dinner with? Pick their brain.
Pick their brain. It'll probably be cliche. Well, not cliche, but it's really recent that he passed away. But Kobe Bryant.
Someone said that on another podcast. Explain a little bit about that.
He's just someone like obviously reading the books from Tim Grover. Someone that I've just looked up to. Like I have a bunch of videos saved of him, Instagram reels where he talks about different things, where he's been speaking in different speaking engagements and podcasts or whatever. But I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed his work ethic, and that like he's someone that I aspire to be. Where people just talk about how he was just relentless and like wouldn't quit, and he didn't necessarily do what was optimal per se to where he would work himself to death. But I think that mentality is why he's not why it is why he is what he is in terms of being the basketball player that he was. So that's someone that I want to model myself after, where he just never quit. And you hear him talk after games, like the one thing he says is like the one thing he said on the interview was job's not finished, when the reporter was talking about like why aren't you happy, when he was in like a playoff or championship series. So I just love what he was about, and I'd love to hear what he'd have to say.
Because a lot of those sports icons, a lot of their attributes, characteristics can move on to other parts of life. Final thoughts from Preston Prince. You got the air.
I'm a man of few words, I
Sounds
guess.
good.
So yeah, just thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. This was awesome.
Well, no, it's been great having you. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. There's a comment section down below. But Preston, this has been Mike Heiss on the Big H Podcast with Preston Prince, Pitchin with Preston. I thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Have a good one.
The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find